family. How you doing today? I am so excited. I could not sleep waiting on this next guest, LIZ FAUBLAS. She has been a journalist over 25 years, Emmy nominated, award-winning journalist, anchor, writer, producer, and publisher. And my friend, LIZ FAUBLAS. Hey, lady, how you doing?
I am doing so well. I have been so excited. Let me tell you, when this was canceled last
Yes,
time, I
yes,
was so disappointed. And of course, I understood, and I'm so happy everyone is
yes.
safe, but I have really been looking forward
I tell you what, I'm
to
so excited about what has happened, what has been going on with you 25 plus years. And I've
Yes, sir.
studied you. You've helped me.
Wow. And I am humbled by that. I
Yeah,
really am. It's a career trajectory that I'm very, very proud of.
yes.
I started as an associate producer, worked my way up to anchor, and I think I did just about every job in
Yes.
between. And it just really helped build me up as a reporter and a journalist.
I love the fact you're out of New York, born and raised. And we
Born
were
and
just talking
raised.
about that, how New York is now with COVID.
Oh, it's sad. It
Yeah,
really is because if you think about just how quickly New York moves, right? I think that's what
right.
people appreciate the
Yes,
most about the city. And to see that the major hubs in New York, like our downtown, our midtown area, our businesses, Broadway, we were just discussing that the fact that Broadway has been dark, unprecedented, it really does take some of the light out of the spirit of New York because, our culture, our entertainment, and our business is really what we're about. So to have all that stuff slow down, it's just been really sad, and it's been an eye opener. This pandemic has really been, man, it's a reality check. I gotta tell you,
it
yes.
is. Let's look at you in action. Who is LIZ FAUBLAS? Let's look at you.
Oh boy, here we
Yeah.
go.
Good evening. Welcome to Currents. I'm LIZ FAUBLAS. Food has arrived in Medaya. Dr. King, your uncle's legacy lives on in you and your cousins. It's like a generation of kings that are committed to the fight for unity, peace, and love. Do you see the same conviction in our country, leaders and Americans alike? New York City continues to dig out of the snow brought by Winter Storm Jonas. And while residents try to get to school and to work, some New Yorkers are using the snow as an opportunity to make some extra money.
The energy is buzzing here on the convention floor. We are here on the night of Make America First Again for Mr. Trump's campaign.
A Brooklyn native son was no match for a former New York State Senator last night. Hillary Clinton defeated rival Bernie Sanders in the heated primary.
Mayor de Blasio, I work for the Diocese of Brooklyn. We proudly call ourselves the Diocese of Immigrants, and I think it's reflected here as well. Do you think the city is cohesive enough to support a Hillary campaign going forward, a Tim Kaine, Hillary Clinton campaign?
Among the GOP leadership lining up with Trump, former gubernatorial candidate Carl Palladino. Palladino told reporters the committee has been planning this show of Big Apple support for 5 months. With regard to Latinos and minorities in general, big day, the Supreme Court meeting to take on the case of the Obama administration's immigration reform plan. The brazen assault of a Catholic priest leaves parishioners asking who would attack a man of God. Even from talking to your colleagues, from your peers in the industry and from the extensive research that you've done, what's the sense you're getting about what comes next? What should we expect? It is being investigated as a hate crime. Police say individuals still unidentified attempted to torch the inside of St. Paul's Memorial Episcopal Church in Staten Island.
I'm standing here with Senator James Sanders from Queens. We were just kind of sparring about the boroughs. I said I'm from Brooklyn. He says he's from Queens, but we've decided both boroughs are amazing. Senator Sanders, thank you so much for joining us. They want to teach, they want to inspire, and they want to unite. And they're hitting all the right notes with a little choreography as a bonus.
Contests in Idaho, Utah, and Arizona will bring us closer to learning who will be the next president of the United States. Now, with so much at stake, I spoke to Mike Noble, a political consultant in Arizona. When Donald Trump said he wasn't ready to endorse House Speaker Paul Ryan, who's locked in a Republican primary, his "not there yet" language mirrored what Mr. Ryan said before his eventual Trump endorsement. The New York City medical examiner is ruling the death of Karina Vetrano a homicide by strangulation.
Principal Latham says one of the main goals of St. Joseph High School's Fab Lab is to turn these students into creators instead of consumers. Imagine one day being able to create a heart or a prosthetic hand that will allow somebody to finally live their life to the fullest.
B, and back to high C.
High C,
Right.
and I just did a C scale.
I love that, lady. 25
It was like taking
plus
a walk
years.
down memory lane.
I love that. Let's think of that. Being a journalist all those years, how has it changed now? How have you looked at it and seen it? What's the differences?
My goodness. Obviously, it definitely has changed. Like,
Yes.
that is a no-brainer, right? The entire terrain, the entire landscape of it. I think because there are so many different platforms now, obviously the competition has been ramped up. The kind of information that you get has been absolutely transformed. But the way the message is relayed, that's where I've seen like the biggest changes. You know,
Yes.
it was always journalism, as you know, has always been, you know, you want to be first, you want to be fast, and,
Yes.
and you always want to beat the competition. What I have seen as journalism, reporting, anchoring, anything that has to do with disseminating information is the accuracy of it has been kind of, you know, falling away.
Right.
And I am somebody, I have been a journalist that has always been very, very like razor focused on accuracy, to the point where news directors would say, you know what, now we got to get it out. We got to get it on the air. Come on, girl, let's do it. And I'm like, oh, no. I would rather be right.
Yes.
And I would rather be accurate than beat the competition. And I may have to turn in my, you know, journalism card for that. But I always, you know what, I just always felt that I had a duty to the people that were watching.
Yeah.
People tune into you because
Yes.
they trust you,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
They tune into you to get the information. So who am I not to give them just the best of what I can give them, and in the right way? So, you know, so there were some clashes in the newsroom over the years. Like, I gotta be honest.
Yes, I love that about you, and the fact that you champion for women, especially African American women in the industry.
Oh, yes.
You're a champion
Oh,
for them.
absolutely.
And you pull
I
them
am.
with you. You help them. You educate them. You talk to them. How going up the ladder, how was that? Just
It was difficult. I'm not
Yes.
gonna lie. I tell young girls that, especially because I am a big proponent of mentoring young girls to
Yes.
find their voice and to just really be strong in
Yes.
your convictions, in the way you present yourself, so on and so forth. And I tell them it's not easy, and it won't get easy, but you can handle it. Coming up for me, it was difficult. There was a misogynistic attitude in a lot of the newsrooms, you know, and people didn't think that women of color were capable of, or you know, had the talent, had the background, had the education, or had just the talent to be in the chair.
Yes.
And people would tell me that, like, that was actually said to me in newsrooms, and it was instead of it depleting me and breaking me down, which it did in the beginning. I'm going to be honest, because when you're young and you're getting beat down like that, it's not easy. But as I got mature, found my voice, understood that I had the talent, understood that I deserved to be here just as much as anybody else, of color or not, man or woman, I owned it. I owned what I could do. I owned my career trajectory. I owned everything I did to work to where I got. And finally came to a place where I was just like, you know what? It's me and you, baby, toe to toe. We're going at it. You know, you could be good and I could be good. It really doesn't necessarily have to be a competition. I mean, you know, you could be good at what you do. I could be good at what I could do, you know, and you're at this station. I'm at this station. Let's both elevate the profession together. Let's make it worth something. You know, we don't always have to be at odds. And that's what I tell young girls. I'm just like, you know, do your thing, stay in your lane, but be the best that you can be
Yes.
at what you're doing. You know, focus. We don't need to see what's happening in our peripheral. And, you know, own who you are and what you do and where you are. It's a message that I will never tire of delivering, ever.
You've always delivered that to young girls, as well as mentoring them, African American women, as well as all women, champion for all women, but especially young African American women, because you've been there. And discrimination and racism is very real, and it's very much so now.
Yeah, and it still exists, right? You know, and for anybody that says that it doesn't, you got to get your head out from the sand. You have to understand the reality of it, because if you don't own it, if you don't realize that it's there and admit that it's there, you're not going to be able to deal with it, right? As I was coming up, I dealt more with microaggressions. I didn't deal with flat out racism, but there were those little, you know, those little comments, actions when it came to promotions or raises or people, you know, having the seat before me. They didn't come out and say it was because I was a woman of color or a woman, but now that I'm more mature and I understand the way the business is, it was apparent now to me that that's what it was.
Right.
And it still exists, you know, and you have to know how to deal with it and be strong enough and fearless enough to take it on head on.
I love this about you. Let's look at this video with the Bloomberg, because that was so strong. It showed your strength.
Bloomberg.
Let's do this.
Stocks slumping today as investors were confronted by more disappointing economic data. But volume at the New York Stock Exchange was some of the lowest that we've seen all year. Elizabeth Faublas is at the New York Stock Exchange with the details. Elizabeth.
Hello, Pim. How are you? Well, you know what? Economic data today serving more as an approach with caution sign on Wall Street. Investors taking a look into our wallets and not pleased at all with what they saw. We saw personal income rose less than expected in July, and that data comes courtesy of the Commerce Department. Now, that pullback, as you mentioned, adding to the reports that have been streaming in since last week, pointing toward a slowdown in growth during the second half of the year. Now, what could have been perceived as some upside, which was the fact that spending was up in July, fell short of being too positive, since without consistent growth in income, any increase in spending may be short-lived. That in mind, let's take a look at how stocks fared in the last session. Pretty steep losses across the board. We had the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ taking a nasty slide.
Now, Elizabeth, on the flip side of that, corporate America not being conservative with cash on this so-called merger Monday, for example.
You are so right about that. Corporate America not too squeamish about spending a lot of money to expand their businesses. First off, we had Intel agreeing to buy the wireless operations of Infineon Technologies for about $1.4 billion. And this gives Intel a foothold in the mobile phone business, which has struggled to crack for more than a decade. Intel closing out the day Intel closing out the day on the low side. We also have 3M talking about merger Monday, more than just Post-its right now, especially after agreeing to buy Cogent for $943 million. Cogent manufactures those fingerprint identification systems for governments and companies, so this helps 3M expand its security services products. And finally, we have Sanofi Aventis going public with an $18.5 billion cash offer for Genzyme. The twist there is the biotech company rejecting Sanofi's offer, saying it undervalued their pipeline and efforts to fix manufacturing issues.
Thank you very much. Elizabeth Faublas reporting from the New York Stock Exchange.
You're very welcome.
I love that. Just to be on the stock
Such a different look.
and just to do the news there and just to be educated and know what you're talking about, lady. How did you get there? Gosh.
Well, that was that came about three jobs in, because I started, it was the trajectory of a career when it comes to being a reporter and an anchor is not necessarily always straight up.
Right.
So I started as a production assistant at a very small television station. Then I moved on to Time Warner, which was huge. From Time Warner, I went to the Today Show. I was at the Today Show for about 18 months. I went back to New York 1, and then somebody just offered me a position at Bloomberg Television. They said, hey, they have some production assistant positions available. Would you be interested? And I learned you can't be complacent in this career.
Mm-hmm.
I was happy at New York One. It was a steady paycheck, and I knew, at least for the short term, I would have a definite job. But I took the leap. I said, you know what? Let me try it. Moved my way over to Bloomberg. I was there for 14 years. And I went from a production assistant to a associate producer to the producer of the closing bell, which was the 4:30 closing bell, which is a huge program for that particular station. And then from reporting to doing some anchoring over there. So that was a great time for me. I learned a lot. I saw my career flourish there a great deal. And you want to talk about building some muscle as a woman of color? Try being on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange during the trading session,
Yes.
trying to deliver these live hits. And these traders, they're about their money.
Right.
They're about, making these sales and making sure that their clients are getting paid. So you have to see them just walking past and bumping you, completely not respecting your space as a reporter. But you know what? You learn to stake your claim. You learn to stand your ground, and you take the bumps and the bruises, because they're at work.
Right. They are.
That's pretty much their domain. So you respect that. But once they see that, you're also able to hold your ground, do what you need to do, and deliver your news at the same time that they're making their trades, you make friends. They learn to respect you a little bit more, and it becomes very kumbaya at some point.
I love that. Lady, you are an author of a new book, and you do some producing of other books, and you publish other books. Number
I
one
do.
bestsellers. Let's talk about this new one. We're talking about You Have a
Oh,
Superpower.
yes, we are talking about You Have a Superpower. Mindy P.I. meets Ezekiel and Kiara. We don't understand racism. So it's part of a 4-part series. The latest book in the series is intended to help kids understand the current climate we're in today,
Right.
as best you could, right? Because you figure little kids, it's not that easy to do it. So I really had to sit down and write in such a way. But, as we just discussed, Cam, I think young kids need to learn early
Yes.
how to cope with things that life is going to throw at them. In the current climate that we're in, it is not unlikely that our babies are going to run into situations where they probably won't understand why someone doesn't like them, or someone is mean to them, or someone won't let them do something.
Right.
But if you arm them with the information and the knowledge that, this has been going on for a very, very long time. Mommy went through it. Grandma and grandpa went through it. Great grandma, great grandpa, and so on and so forth went through it. And as far back as, the 50s, the 60s, and the 40s, someone has been fighting for you, young
Yes.
Ezekiel, baby of color, to have a voice. And to be able to do things in life that otherwise you would not be able to do. So that's what we don't understand racism is about. Ezekiel has a little friend, Kiara, who's a little young white girl. They're best friends. So they don't understand. They're like, we get along. We don't understand why other people in society don't get along. Mindy P.I.
It doesn't matter what it is. Give me a call, Attorney Willie Powles. We'll fix it today. The number is 281-881-2457. Again, that number is 281-881-2457. We'll fix it today. Call Attorney Willie Powles.
And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey, thank you so much for coming back, Liz Faublas. Liz, let's pick up where we left off. We were talking about your book. It was You Have a Superpower, but the thing I love, it's part of Prairie View's curriculum.
I'm sorry. Every time I hear that, I get so excited and happy. Yes, Prairie View A&M picked up the book. Dr. Sherry Sawyer suggested that the book be used in their human diversity program and their adolescent psychology program. I couldn't understand it at first, even though she explained it very well. She's such a sharp woman, and she explained how the book would be used. But last week, I finally saw the presentations of the students having read the book and applied it to different philosophies of psychology. Oh, Cam, I didn't know I had written such a book. They literally were comparing different aspects of psychology, the greatest psychological minds, and how they are applicable to the age group that, like, Ezekiel is in, Mia is in, Ava is in, which are the characters in my other books, and how they go through these different levels of formation and what they're thinking and how they feel and how their actions are actually connected to the age group that they're in with regard to psychological philosophies and ideals. I was blown away. I thought I was just writing some really cute children's books to show kids about their superpower and to encourage kids, to be confident, and anti-bullying. And here comes Dr. Sherry Sawyer letting me know that we've actually, worked to write a book that teachers can use and parents can use to better understand their kids as they're growing up. I'm beside myself. I'm proud of the book, but the fact that the book could make such an impact on so many different levels is really humbling. And I'm very excited about the future of the You Have a Superpower series.
I love that series. You have a whole series of it, and it educates, as you can see, everyone, not just children.
It does. It does. I have had parents call me and tell me that, thank you, because I was not really able to teach my child about the racism, which is the current one. There's one called Mindy P.I. meets Mia Mayhem. Mia is she bad. She's running all over the place and she's knocking stuff down, and her mom is at her wit's end. So you don't really know how a superhero can fly in and help this child understand her superpower. But the point is, every child has something to offer the world. So when Mindy P.I. swoops in with Mia, she lets her know, look, the energy, even though it makes your mom mad, if you use the energy in the right way, you can help other kids. So her superpower became her super speed, and her super speed helps kids have fun and stay healthy. And now she's learned to channel all that energy and to stop making mama mad by knocking stuff down and whizzing back and forth and not keeping still and helping other kids. So there's always some part of you as a child that is useful and can be used to help others. And that's the Mindy P.I. superhero. You Have a Superhero series. And that's always the goal. That's always the goal for that book.
I love that. I also love the fact that you have your own publishing company here. It says $1 Million Pen Inc.
That's right.
And
another jewel.
Best-selling books that are under there that you published.
Yep. It's a jewel for me because it began at a time where I didn't quite appreciate how big the company could become. My husband always encouraged me to write. And I always took writing for granted because, I was a journalist. As being a journalist, I also wrote a lot. I was very I was an ardent reader. I loved to write. I journaled. I kept diaries. I wrote articles. But he encouraged me to write bigger.
Yes.
You know, take a look at the bigger picture. Write for others.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, in conversations with him, we decided to write his first book.
Mm-hmm.
And that was called Life is Not Complicated, You Are. So when he would give me the notes for his books, I would just kind of put it together. And that's really the point of my literary company at its foundation.
Mm-hmm.
New authors come, they're like, I want to tell my story. I just don't know how.
Right.
And my husband had an amazing story. It was just very encouraging and inspirational. And he would tell me about his life as a child and about his life, you know, working on the rail as an organizer. And I'm like, you know what? If you were to go tomorrow, God forbid, all these really great stories and anecdotes you would tell me about your mom and your grandfather, they would go with you.
Mm-hmm.
We need to put them in a book.
Right.
He resisted. I pushed. So we encouraged each other. And his was the very first best-selling book that $1 Million Pen Inc. put out.
Wow.
After that, it really just took off.
Right.
People heard about Life is Not Complicated. They heard that $1 Million Pen Inc. was the publisher and the editor for the book. And I started getting more and more clients.
Yes.
And it has really grown since then. And I love the authors that I've met. Oh, Cam, they're all wonderful people with great stories that have meaning, that are substantive, and that is why they're able to sell so many books on Amazon. Mm-hmm.
Let's go over and talk to authors. There's so many authors, and I understand we all have a story, right?
Everyone
has their own
I'm so
story.
glad you
Everyone
said that.
has a
Yes.
story. Yes,
that's right.
And
whether
many,
it's about
and many here don't know how to put it together. They're in a pandemic. We're at COVID. They're thinking this is their dream. They have something inside of them. What would they do as a beginning author? They think they're just writing in their journals or just writing it down, you know?
And which is of course the first step.
Yes.
You know, you write about your life.
Mm-hmm.
When you're not really doing anything, jot things down, jot memories down,
Mm-hmm.
jot stories down, jot conversations that you've had with other people that have made a difference in your life down. Write about your pain, write about your success, write about the trials and the tribulations. I always encourage people to have a recorder. I'm showing my age, recorder, right? Does anybody even really have recorders anymore? All right, use your phone, young people. But whatever device you use to talk into, when you're in the car by yourself, instead of turning on the radio, turn on a recorder, you know, turn on your phone and talk into your phone about something that you would love to put down on paper. And when you've compiled a few chapters, you know, a few hundred pages, then you find a company like $1 Million Pen Inc. Hopefully it would be $1 Million Pen Inc. And you consult with an editor, managing editor, ghostwriter, if you want a ghostwriter as well. Like maybe some people, you know, they just want the person to write the book,
right?
Not just edit it, but look, here's everything I have. You write it for me. But it all begins with the person believing they have the story, understanding the importance of it, and then you take it from there. You know, you get your consultation, you talk. Someone like me, a managing editor, would give you an outline of what your story should look like, how you could engage with people, what would make it interesting, what would make it stand out from another story that's similar. Because, I mean, if you think about it, you know, a lot of people do have similar stories. So what's going to make yours interesting?
Right.
And that's the heart of it. Why should I buy your book versus someone else's book? And that's where $1 Million Pen Inc. is really able to massage somebody's story and add some compelling details to it, so that when it's on the bookshelf and someone goes A and B, they read the back cover of yours and they're like, oh, B, definitely B.
Yeah. I love that.
Yep.
I love the fact that you're already prepared to do it and to help others.
Oh, yeah.
Yours is to help.
Absolutely. As you know, in past conversations that you and I have had, Cam, it's all about pay it forward for me. Someone got me here.
Yes.
I didn't get to this point of my career, of my life by myself.
Right.
And I am a true believer in, because I've gotten this far, I have to reach back
Right.
and help somebody else.
Right.
And hopefully I will guide them and mentor them so that they do the same. I mean, I got a text today from a young mentee that meant a lot to me, because she wanted to for Pen Inc., but unfortunately with the pandemic, it just couldn't happen. And you know how young kids are these days. You know, they get an idea in their head, it doesn't work out, and they move on. Her text today was, I was really disappointed that I couldn't work with you, but I really want to start talking with you today about working for you next summer. That's unheard of to me with this generation.
Right.
And I just would love to think of it as a testament of me telling her, look, don't give up. If I don't answer a phone call on Tuesday, call me back on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't text you back on Wednesday, call me back on Friday. And this young lady has really just been persistent.
Mm-hmm.
She's shown that she really wants to succeed and be part of the company. And that means a lot to me, that this generation, there are members of this generation that are really that focused and ready to do the work.
I love that. You have done a lot over the years. I love your TV show that you had. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about The Other 99 Times.
The Other 99 Times, Count Your Blessings.
Yes.
Also came from a book. It was adapted from a book from author Carlos Wallace. And the premise of the book was, you know, we spend so much time thinking about that one time things went wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
We focus on it. We're obsessed with it. It ruins our day. Sometimes it could ruin a week, it can a life, unfortunately. And we don't stop to think about the other 99 times that things went right. Like, that is the philosophy that inspired The Other 99 Times, Count Your Blessings, which people could actually watch now on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
We got a group of guests together for the 2 seasons that the show was running, where they would share aspects of their life that people would shake their head and say, I could never have recovered from that. Cancer survivors, death in the family, people that had suffered like thousands and thousands of dollars of financial loss, people who watched their family fall apart. We had a story of a man whose child was kidnapped by its mother. He was a young boy. The mother dressed him as a girl for 2 years in order for her to kind of just skirt the law and keep him from his dad. Those two, you know, the father and the son, were on set for one of our segments, and they talked about their journey into finding each other again. And the main thread with all of our guests was, we won. We were victorious. We didn't let our struggles, we didn't let anything disastrous in our life keep us from just surviving and being the best. And they still have faith. They're not bitter. None of the guests that we have are boo-hooing about their lot in life. They're just happy to be alive, you know, and many of them use what they've learned from their experience to help other people. So that's a show that I'm very proud of. It's The Other 99 Times, Count Your Blessings, because especially now in this pandemic, where we're you know, pretty much just overwhelmed by job losses, financial strains, the deaths in our family, it at some point you have to sit back and say, okay, but I have the breath in my lungs. I was able to eat breakfast today. You know, I had a roof over my head. Whatever it is, you can pinpoint that was a good thing. Make that your focus, even if it's for an hour.
Absolutely.
You know, because
let's do this. We're going to look at it. Yeah, we're going to look at it.
Okay.
We're going to look at an option, and then we'll go to break. So let's look at the video, and then we'll go to break.
See you on the other side of that.
I'm Liz Faublas, host of The Other 99 Times, Count Your Blessings. A new set, a new season, more powerful stories of deep faith, perseverance, and redemption. This show is going to be extraordinary this season. You don't want to miss it. Please tune in.
The Other 99 Times, Count Your Blessings. Season 2, streaming on.
We'll be right back to The Cam Hill Show after these messages.
to protecting yourself and your partners, all the information out there can be overwhelming. Visit our website. We are a free and confidential service striving to help you stay informed and stay notified. We are committed to a healthy Houston.
Houston's only Cadillac to your door dealer, Ron Carter Cadillac, delivers test drives to your home or office. Drive the new 2020 Cadillac XT4, only $399 a month, or the new 2020 XT5, only $429 a month, both for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase the XT4 or XT5 and enjoy 0.9% APR for 72 months with no payments until November. RonCarterCadillac.com.
Have you been injured in an 18-wheeler accident, truck accident, car accident? Was someone texting and ran into the back of you, not paying attention? It doesn't matter what it is. Give me a call, Attorney Willie Powles. We'll fix it today. The number is 281-881-2457. Again, that number is 281-881-2457. We'll fix it today. Call Attorney Willie Powles.
Houston's only Cadillac to your door dealer, Ron Carter Cadillac, delivers test drives to your home or office. For a limited time, get $16,000 off all in-stock Cadillac 2019 XT5 crossovers and $19,000 off all in-stock 2019 CT6 sedans. Or experience the first ever 2020 Cadillac XT6 Premium Luxury Collection, only $519 with $1 down for 39 months lease. Or purchase and receive 0.9% APR for 72 months with no payments until November. RonCarterCadillac.com.
And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey, we are back. We're talking to LIZ FAUBLAS. Liz, we just pick up right where we left off. The Other 99 Times was your TV show.
It was such a joy to produce it, to host it. Thankfully, Carlos was creative consultant in the show. He had a hand in it. He gonna have a hand in it. He gonna have a hand in it. He does. He's very hands-on when it comes to things that have his name attached to it. You know that for sure.
Exactly.
So I had to make sure I did my due diligence.
Yes.
But I do appreciate that he trusted me with the concept of the show.
Yes.
With steering the show to a point where we could actually get it on the air. And also to be able to now have it on Amazon, because the stories are amazing, and that's my passion, storytelling. The triumph behind the stories are inspirational. That's something we need a whole lot more of these days.
Yes.
So it was an important show when we produced it, and it continues to be an important show. It definitely has longevity.
Absolutely. Lady, you're an actress. I just read that. I was like, whoa, you are.
Well, that's one man's opinion. Some people might differ. I don't know, but yes, I have. I've done a couple of commercials, but and that was many moons ago before I was full on journalist. But I had an opportunity to work with Daniel Roebuck, who I love. Danny Roebuck. He's been in everything from the series Lost to Law and Order, and I'm obsessed with Law and Order. So I obviously have seen every episode that Danny's been in. But he was also a contributor to my former television station. We met one day, and he literally, and it really happened like this. I am not making it up. He goes, "You know what? You would be really great for a part I'm working on for a movie that I'm directing and producing." And I'm just like, yeah, right. Okay. Where have I heard this before? Probably a Law and Order episode. And lo and behold, he comes back like 2 months later, and he said, "I want to send you a script." And I'm like, okay. He sends the script. I'm blown away by it, because it really is. It's also a great story of just, fighting through pain and fighting through disease and fighting through hurt to get to a higher road. And I played Nurse Wendy in the movie. It's called Getting Grace. We filmed for maybe it was like 3 months in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, which is beautiful, by the way. Anybody, even if you're coming in from H-Town and you come to New York and you want to go to somewhere in the outerlying areas, Lehigh Valley is absolutely beautiful.
Yes.
amazing experience. I learned a lot. I worked with great people, and I got a really cool movie credit out of it.
Sounds good. Let's see this video real quick.
Yeah.
We're just looking at videos all day.
Okay.
Let's look at the video.
Here you go, honey. Next class in 3 days.
Dr. Winslow, line 1, please.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I got it.
He doesn't even know I exist. All right, you win. I'll ask him out.
Works for me. Embrace life.
I'll see you later, honey.
You are a natural lady. What are you talking about?
She was so sweet. Oh, thank you so much. I had fun. The young lady that I was talking to in the movie, she has cancer. So she's been coming to this doctor's office for quite a few months now. So we got close. And she's trying to fix me up with a doctor. Trying to fix me up with a doctor, Cam. And I was telling her, I was like, I'm a little shaky on that. I would rather him come to me. But she was like, she pretty much had my philosophy. She was like, look, if you want it to happen, you make it happen. And I ended up marrying the doctor.
Oh.
See what happens when you take control of your life.
There you go. There you go. And you tell ladies that. You tell ladies and you champion for
That's
them.
right.
And you say take control of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there were times in my career, even in my personal life, where I look back and I can't say I have regrets, because of course you learn with everything, but I wish I had known who I was and whose I was.
Yes.
Our Lord and Savior, long before I finally did.
Yes.
And I just don't want other young women, or even women that are kind of in the throes of trying to figure out what their personality is and who they are, so that could be anywhere from the age of 18 to the age of 80, right? I don't want any woman to ever doubt who they are and what they can accomplish if they use their voice and they're fearless, and they just, be the best that you can be. And if people don't accept it, well, oh, well, that's their problem. As long as they respect you, you're good.
I love that. I also was, just looking at the fact, 25 plus years of journalism, you having to dress up, you having to be there on time, you having to, a ritual running and through the New York folds of everything, just the world. And now deciding, look at COVID.
Look at COVID. Decided I'm going to stop you right in your tracks. And COVID hit around the time that I decided that I was no longer going to be in the chair. I wanted to take my business on full throttle.
Right.
I wanted to become just a better version of myself. And I was in a situation prior to taking $1 Million Penning completely on 100%, where I was still limited. I still had to hear what a news director had to say and adhere to what a news director had to say. And I still had to adhere to what viewers thought. You'd be very surprised how many viewers would call and say, I didn't like what you were wearing the other day. And then have a news director say, no more red. You could never wear red again. And it's kind of, what? Are you kidding me? Especially when you have a personality like mine, where it's kind of just like, okay, now I'm not going to do anything detrimental to the station, but you're not just going to sit here and dictate every aspect of my life. You get to that age, like, oh. So I decided it was time for me to take control of me and what I wanted to do. So when COVID hit, I was in full throttle mode with $1 Million Penning. We had gotten new clients. We were working on PR campaigns, branding and imaging, which is also something that the company does. We were building our web design business. I can't say that our work slowed to the degree that other companies and businesses did. And for that, I'm grateful. While there were clients that had to pull out, obviously because of financial constraints, we have been able to, by the grace of our God, and by the virtue of our team, like we had a really great team that hung in there through the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows. And we've been able to maintain. We published one book throughout COVID.
Right.
And we also published 2 of my series. So what COVID taught me, while it was a difficult time, it was, if you want to get something accomplished, you're going to find a way to do it.
You will.
And if you can't find it from, from this portion of your life, you're gonna pull it from another portion. But if you really want to make it happen, you're gonna find a way to do it. So that was the wake-up call for me with regard to the pandemic and with regard to COVID.
Absolutely. Now, looking back, and what would you say just to other dreamers at this point? They're dreamers that are sitting out there because there's 40 million plus people that are unemployed right this moment.
Yes.
And there's going to be more as we're looking at it.
Yeah, it's expected to get worse before it gets better. And I want to say something just completely, encouraging and inspirational. We're all in this together, and it's going to get better. Just hold on. But when you're in the throes of that, that's difficult for you to hear.
Yes.
However, what I do tell people, what I try to share, especially with my young mentees, is just think back to the last time you thought you were not going to overcome something.
Mm-hmm.
Think back to that very last time where you had hit rock bottom, and you were literally at the bottom of your closet in a fetal position talking about, I'm not going to make it, sweet Jesus, Lord. It's just not going to happen for me. And now look at you. You're still standing. Somehow you made it. Whatever resource you pulled from, whatever higher power you prayed to, and whatever strength that you decided that you were going to use in order to sit up, put your chest out, and move forward, you found it. Find it again, because you need it now. You can't let it beat you. Right. As just try. You cannot let it. I tell dreamers, you have so much more to accomplish in life. And you may hit another wall, but think about how much stronger you're going to be when you hit that next wall, because you crashed through this one. And this is a pretty thick wall.
Mm-hmm.
This is straight up concrete.
Yeah, this is real.
This is real.
Mm-hmm.
But you will get through it if you want to get through it, if you believe you will get through it, and you do everything in your power to get through it. Now, you can't just sit back and say, okay, well, I'm just going to give it to Jesus and let him fix it. Jesus needs help too. Jesus needs Jesus needs you to commit to part of the effort,
Exactly.
So, okay, you want it, do it, believe it, achieve it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People want to do a lot of things, and I love what you always say. They want to do it. It's the doing it that stops.
Yeah, it's the actual putting forth the effort. I would love to get clients and literally think of a campaign for them, a branding and imaging campaign, and call up stations around the country so that I could book interviews for them and just have the words flow out of my brain and onto the laptop so that I can write press releases, or I can edit their books and have it just be so easy. Guess what? No. It's just not going to happen that way. You have to work at it. And I mean work at it in every aspect of your profession. I read constantly. I am always looking to inform myself. I literally do word of the day. Like, I will look through the dictionary every single day, a thesaurus. I'll read the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal. I'll read the Daily News. I'll read local papers. I am constantly just filling my head with information, with words, with streams of consciousness, with thought processes. I read about the latest public relations strategies, crisis control. I read other children's books so I can get an idea of how to formulate ideas for mine. Like, your brain should constantly be working and trying to ascertain, how can I be better? What can I do different? How am I going to help my client today? You can't sleep on it. It's not possible to be complacent and be successful. The two don't work that way.
They sure don't.
There's no relationship between the two whatsoever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If people want to get in touch with you, lady, how do we do that? How do we buy your books? How do we?
Oh, there are so many ways to get in touch with me.
Exactly.
I'm all over social media. The primary way to get in touch with me, obviously, would be through my website, which is LIZFaublas.com. My email, liz@lizfaublas.com. But if you are very active on social media, there is no way you cannot find me. My personal Liz Faublas page, my You Have a Superpower page, Show Me Your Superpower. I have a page now called Woke, which is women organizing to get together, to get the vote out, to help each other find jobs, to unify. It's WOCE on Facebook. My author and anchor podcast with my husband. We have that up and running. He has a Life is Not Complicated podcast that I help produce and that I host. And we have a blog, the Author and Anchor blog. So if you're looking for me, you will find me. If you don't find me, you weren't really looking. Because we're out there. True. Oh, and the books are all available on Amazon.com. The You Have a Superpower series, all available on Amazon.com right now.
I'm so proud of you. Shout out to Carlos Wallace, your husband. I'm telling you, you're champion.
He is my champion, my biggest fan. I'm very fortunate to have him in my corner. Yeah, but he be on my nerves though, Cam, because I can't sleep. Try to take a nap sometimes. He's like, "Nope, you'll sleep when you're dead." Who says that to their partner there, Cam?
That is too funny. You have a superpower. I'm telling you, that was the topic today. That's your book, and we love it.
That is
lady.
The book, yes.
I'm so proud of you. Thank you for the
Likewise.
opportunity to come on here. Thank you.
It was a great experience, and I'm so proud of you, my friend. I really am. You are one of my superheroes. You really are. You epitomize what's in my book, is that you use your talent to do great things and to help people. And I really appreciate that about you. Thank you, Cam.
I appreciate you so much. God bless you.
Likewise.
And God keep you and Mr. Carlos, my buddy. Appreciate you. Thank you.
He gonna need God.
Thank you, lady, for everything. On tomorrow, we'll be back. 12:30 to 1:30 Central Standard Time. Take care. Thank you.
The Cam Hill Show. If you'd like to advertise your business or become a sponsor, contact the Cam Hill Show at gmail.com.